Howdy folks, I'm no-nonsense Northern Blue, nonchalantly noticing nocturnal nuisances.
I'm Amber.
And here are more nocturnal nuisances for us to notice. And you know what else we noticed, folks? We have a live stream coming up tomorrow. For more information, please see the end of the video. So let's get started. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Not Buying My Daughter Food and Video Games? My daughter is 12 years old and she's extremely shy. She blames it on her anxiety issues and has a tough time talking to other people. Before now, my wife and I have been really accommodating and pretty much speaking for her. However, we recognize that her shyness and anxiety is causing her a lack of development in social skills and being independent and fear for her ability to function as an eventual adult. We have now been actively trying to get her to be more socially active with the lesson that if you don't speak, you don't get. One example is ordering food. Recently, we went to the mall food court to get something quick for lunch. My wife and I told our daughter that in order for her to get food, she needs to tell the worker her order. Our daughter refused, and so we didn't get her anything. While eating, we told her that she can buy food at any time that she wants. And if she wants to, she can go up and order food by herself. But she chose not to. Instead, she ate at home afterwards. At the same mall, there was a video game that she wanted. We gave her our credit card and told her that she can get it if she gets it independently and goes up to the register and pays for it. She also refused, which meant she didn't get her video game. When we brought this up to other parents, we were told that we were being too extreme on her and that we need to be more understanding of her needs. We don't agree with this. At 12, my wife and I were already very independent, and we want to equip her for when she's an adult. Am I the jerk for forcing our daughter into social situations that she's uncomfortable with? All right, folks, what do you think?
Absolutely, OP is a jerk, and there's an important piece of additional information in the comments. So OP's daughter is in speech and language therapy to deal with this, and the therapist recommended role-playing it at home, and the daughter would go running to her room anytime they role-played this at home, and so the parents decided, we'll just bring her out in the real world, it's not working fast enough. And so blatantly ignoring the advice of a therapist, ignoring, like I understand it's frustrating that your daughter is not communicating in the way you want her to, but this is a legitimate struggle she is having. And you have to trust the experts in this situation. You cannot accelerate the timeline for children with communication difficulties. It may take her a very long time to become comfortable with this. She may need someone to help her, like to speak for her in situations going forward. It is an accommodation she may need, and there's nothing wrong with that.
You know, I think the parents are coming from a good place. I do. I don't think they're coming from a malicious place. I think they want to see their daughter grow and excel, and I think they're just having a really hard time putting themselves in her shoes because they were at a very different stage when they were growing up. And I certainly understand where they're coming from here. I just don't think this is malicious. I do think that they need to work with their daughter a little bit more, and they need to have a little more patience with her, and they kind of need to ask her, what steps can we do to help you be more comfortable in these social situations, like with the video game or even the food court, saying, well, what can we do to help make that a little more comfortable for you so that you can help order your own food. But I do think that it's a little problematic if she's running away from even like these role-playing sessions and being too uncomfortable for it. Then that kind of says a lot about her current state, and that she's probably not ready for a deep end plunge type of situation.
Yeah.
I mean, there's certainly exposure therapy, and exposure therapy is can be very successful, but it needs to be under really controlled environments, and I think that they would be better, getting her into actual therapy and working with a therapist on some of these issues that might help her out a lot. So I just don't think that they're approaching it in the right way. I think they have good intentions, but what they say, the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Yeah, well, and I mean, I think it sounds like the speech and language therapist is helping the daughter.
Mm-hmm.
I'm someone who has had speech and language therapy as a child to deal with my social issues. And it can be very helpful and very valuable. So they may also need a separate therapist for her anxiety potentially, but I don't think there's anything wrong with having a speech and language therapist to help her with this.
Yeah, but let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Making My Pregnant Wife Cry Over the Food That She Was Eating? Oh, and Amber wants to read this one.
So my newly pregnant wife was on the couch eating chocolate most of the morning. I know I shouldn't have said anything, but I said, "Baby, you have a beautiful body. Don't eat all that chocolate now." I was thinking like in a joke way, etc. She did not take it in that way at all and has since been very teary and upset. I feel so bad. So, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Well, I think that OP needs to learn what a joke actually
Yeah.
is, right? You can't make a joke out about something that somebody might be insecure about. And sometimes, I mean, especially with a joke like this, there's a grain of truth to it.
Well,
And so I think that's really where his big mistake is that this wasn't so much a joke as it was a, hey, look, you're making a pig of yourself. Stop making a pig of yourself,
like,
right?
what's the punchline?
Yeah.
Like,
The punchline is, haha, she's going to have her body ruined. And I mean, like, she's pregnant. And so it's going to happen anyways, where she's going to not have the body that she had before, right?
well, that's the thing is like, if he's expecting her to stay like whatever size she is now, he is in for a very rude awakening.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't even sound like this was a place for concern over her health. And like, I don't know what eating chocolate most of the morning means, if she was
Yeah.
casually snacking on it or what. But again, this doesn't sound like it was coming from a place of, oh, I'm worried you're having too much sugar,
Yeah.
which is something that she would talk to her doctor about and not just like something that her husband should be setting a limit on her because he just said so.
Yeah.
But it's again, it just seems like he's afraid of her getting bigger and she's pregnant. And that's what happens when you're pregnant. You're growing a whole little human inside of you.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest problem I have with sitting around and eating chocolate is the sugar content, and it just isn't, very healthy on the body to eat that much sugar. But again, like we don't know what kind of chocolate she was eating anyway. She could have been eating dark chocolate for all we know, right?
Right. Well,
And how much?
yeah, and a lot of times, like, it's about getting the calories, I mean, every body is different, and there are things you have to be worried about, like gestational diabetes. But, as long as her doctor is fine with whatever she's eating, then it's not really a concern.
Yeah. Well, again, like I can't judge how she's eating because OP isn't very specific about it. So, of course, occasional piece of candy isn't going to do anyone any harm. But I mean, I do think that there is a certain risk associated with eating a lot of sugar, and I don't think that's where he was coming from here. I think he was just being cruel in his remark. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Telling My Son's African-American Girlfriend that she can wear a wig even if my son doesn't want her to? I'm a 37-year-old female, a white woman, out of my depth on this topic, and I'm too scared to ask anyone who is African-American face to face. My son, a 14-year-old male's first girlfriend, is an African-American girl, a 13-year-old female, who we'll call Nina. Usually, when I see her, she's a bubbly social butterfly. She smiles a lot and is very talkative. Recently, I noticed that Nina is seeming less confident the times that I've seen her. Her change in demeanor was the most noticeable change, but I also noticed a recent lack of wig, makeup, and jewelry. I didn't even realize the two things were connected. Well, one day I was driving them to a party and my son was upstairs and Nina was downstairs. She looked like she was dreading going to this party and I asked her what was wrong. She said that she doesn't feel pretty. I asked her why she felt that way and she said that she's still getting used to showing off her natural hair. I asked her if she feels uncomfortable with showing her hair, then why is she doing it? She said that my son thinks that she looks more cool this way. I told her that I used to do things just to impress boys when I was her age. I told her that she can wear a wig even if my son doesn't want her to. Well, days later, I have never seen my son more angry with me than that day. He said that I'm a white woman and that I shouldn't be advising black girls on how to look. He said that he called me an overhearing mom and a Karen. I was too shocked to speak as I've never seen him so angry. So am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk. You are not giving her advice on how to wear her hair. You were telling her that she can do what makes her feel comfortable. And so I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with telling someone you don't need to change yourself for a man. It doesn't matter the races of the people involved.
Yeah.
I think the important thing is that she's able to feel comfortable. And whether that is with her natural hair or wearing a wig or with makeup or without, the important thing is that it's a decision that she's making for herself. And I think OP's son needs to needs to learn from that he can't control people. I think it is really gross what he is doing, and I hope there are some kind of consequences for him.
So I'm going to assume that OP's husband isn't like a person of color, and that, you know, the son is also probably white in that respect, right? Because like or maybe they've adopted. I mean, it's really hard to say. I mean, they don't put any information like that in there, but it comes across as if their son is white as well, and so the audacity that he has to say that he has more say in how his girlfriend looks and dresses and stuff like that than his mom is just, I think, ridiculous, right? I think that he is reflecting here and he's just mad because his girlfriend isn't listening to him or isn't conforming to what his wishes are, because like it's fine if he thinks that his girlfriend looks great without a wig on, right? And that's fine. Like, I mean, I think that's actually sweet, right? But I do have a little bit of a problem with the control aspect here, where he seems to be trying to control how she looks,
Well, that's
right?
the thing is there's a huge difference between I will love you with or without a wig and I expect you to not wear a wig because this is my preference.
Yeah.
And he definitely seems to be falling into the latter camp. Like there is nothing wrong with letting your partner know that you think they are beautiful as they are naturally. But when that becomes, I now expect you to look this way, and if you don't, I'm going to be upset. It's a problem.
Yeah, and I think it would be fine for them to sit down and have a sincere, honest conversation about like why she's wearing the wig, for instance, right? But honestly, it's one of these things where you really need to allow people to have their own preferences and comfort. And I do think like it is important to, try to help your partner be confident in, wearing, being natural and whatnot, right? But it shouldn't come at the cost of demanding that they do certain things, right? And I just think that I get pretty concerned with his attitude and behavior here, and also the way he's treating his mom,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I'm a little afraid about that. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Being Offended That My Wealthy Boyfriend Told Me to Sell My Blood to Pay for Groceries? Am I the jerk? So, I'm a 26-year-old female, and I work full-time in a typical 9 to 5, and I make about $50,000 to $60,000 a year. After tax and deductions, I get around $2,000 to $3,000 per month in a career that I enjoy. I work hard, and my main goal is to grow in this career and eventually get to around $70,000 to $80,000 per year in 5 or so years. My boyfriend, a 33-year-old male, makes about $5,000 to $8,000 per month after tax, depending on his business. Once or twice a year, it's $12,000 to $15,000 in a month. We've been together for about 2 years. I ended up with some credit card debt, $6,000, which I take responsibility for, when I was off of work for medical reasons for about a year. I'm working on catching up now, but the payments unfortunately cost me a couple $100s per month, depending on what I can afford. I'm trying hard to not be using my debit just to stay afloat. I want to get debt free and close those accounts. I might be broke as a result of this, but I know I'm not poor. I have my own place that costs me around $1,400 per month and usually a roommate that helps with $600 of that. He spends a lot of time here. My car costs me $300 to $500 per month, including payments, insurance, and gas. I pay my own bills, and his parents give him a car and pay for his phone and car insurance. His rent is around $500 per month in a shared house, as he prefers that setup. His parents are well off and don't see a reason to pass the bills that they've already been paying onto him. I expressed that I was struggling with gas and groceries, and his response was to tell me to go to the public food bank and or sell my blood. Legally, you can get reimbursed between $50 to $90 depending on the organization that you go through for blood donations. I told him that I thought that was kind of hurtful, and he told me to be more of a hustler. He made the joke that my blood is hot and he wants me to sell it in an attempt to be flattering. Am I the jerk for being offended by the suggestion? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk. And I think you are getting a look at your future OP. This is not a partnership. This is an every person for themselves. And you would think in a partnership, like you could count on your partner to help you every now and again. I understand if he doesn't want to finance all your bills and whatnot, but the fact that he wouldn't kick in a little bit of money and they'd just be like, why don't you go sell your blood, makes me deeply concerned.
Yeah, I mean, I understand his hesitation to giving her money, but they've been together for 2 years. Like, if this was like a 6 month relationship, I could see it being a little bit more of a question of like, well, is this person just trying to, mooch off of me or something like that, right? But given that they've been together for 2 years and he spends most of his time, it sounds like, at OP's house,
Mm-hmm.
and he's not contributing to like the food or anything like that, maybe it's time for OP just not to feed him when he's over there and say, I'm sorry, I can't afford to feed you. You need to bring your own food or something
Start
like that.
charging him for the electricity and hot water he's
Yeah.
using.
Yeah. Well, and just explain that that he can't spend time over at their house because of those bills and stuff like that, and that OP's trying to keep it down. They're being more of a hustler, if you will, right? And I think that's kind of what OP needs to do is kind of turn this around and make it his problem if he's really this unsympathetic. And to say like OP should go and donate blood is like one of the most capitalistic, like literal
Sell your body
vampiric,
for
yeah,
money.
vampiric types of things that you can possibly do, right? Like, her debt was from medical debt, for
Mm-hmm.
crying out loud. And that's a sad, unfortunate reality is that
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of debt that comes around with medical debt. Now, the good thing about medical debt is oftentimes it can be discharged at a much lower rate. So hopefully OP didn't put medical debt on their credit cards, but it sounds like they might have. And if they did, then in the future they should actually set up an account with the hospital that they're going through, and then they can pay off the debt through the hospital at either a reduced rate or at a very low rate, oftentimes, right? Because the hospitals will have like payment plans and stuff like that, because it's better for them to get paid something than nothing, and a lot of times people just don't pay their medical debt at all. So I think that it's just a unfortunate situation, and it's kind of the society that we live in where people can get pushed down pretty quickly just because of like a something that's completely outside of their control. And I feel bad for OP in that respect.
Yeah, but I would also encourage OP to reevaluate this relationship and have some conversations about, think for long and hard about where you see this going long term. Because if his plan is just to nickel, like expect you to pay like for everything, exactly 50-50 or whatever, like it doesn't seem like a good situation.
Yeah, I mean, I think that OP does need to have a conversation and figure out exactly where this relationship is going. Is he just using her? Right? Like, is this one of the situations where he's just comfortable with their arrangement and that they're never going to move in together, and that he's just going to continue to like delay things and whatnot? So if he doesn't have any real plans of building a life with OP, and this is what OP wants, then they probably should actually reconsider the relationship. That's all very speculative, though. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Alright, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
What's a duck's favorite snack?
Oh, I actually know this one. I know what a duck's favorite snack is. A duck's favorite snack is you. They'll chase after you and try to eat you.
Quackers.
Oh,
And it's Crackers Over the Keyboard Day. And it's also Neon Yellow Day, which is a holiday I made up when I was a bored teenager. It was
oh.
like school was about to start, and so like the last bit of summer vacation was like slipping through my fingers, and so it was just a day where you kind of embody the color neon yellow, just be like very bright and cheerful and bouncy. And I wrote in a neon yellow gel pen that day in my journal, so like I can barely read the journal entry. um, but yeah,
So go find yourself some neon yellow and some quackers, but don't eat them over your keyboard. Please do not eat them over your keyboard. Whoever came up with that holiday, they need, I think I have a pretty good idea about who came up with that holiday and where they reside.
and also there's a hardcover edition of Little White Flowers coming out in October.
Ooh.
So I have the proof copy here. If you have the paperback already, the interior is basically the same. It's just a little bit of a snazzier cover. Well, front cover is the same too, but I've got some nice little blurbs from authors on the back. And it's got the nice little flaps and everything. So yeah. And also, keep your eyes out at your local library or request Little White Flowers at your local library. It is coming to more libraries in Maine, very soon. And also there's some libraries in Minnesota that have picked it up. And there could be all kinds of other, like that's just print books.
Yeah.
If you want, like, if you're an ebook reader, like tons of libraries have it through Hoopla. Is like you're almost guaranteed to have it if your library has Hoopla. And some Libby libraries you can request it through as well.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're wanting to read it and you haven't had a chance and you don't have the money, you bother your library to get it, and they'll buy it for you. You can just check it out.
And then you can tell all your friends and have them check it out at the library too.
Yeah. And I have a special guest tea. It is a ginger tea. It's a super ginger. And it's sweet, spicy, and comforting. And I mean, honestly, I would say it meets all of those criteria. And it's another David's tea. It's a Rubio's tea. It says it has organic ginger, organic green tea Rubio's, organic black pepper, organic white pepper, organic pink peppercorn, natural stevia flavoring. So pretty simple tea compared to some of their teas. Honestly, it's a nice tea. I mean, I don't mind it at all. I mean, I know that some people don't actually like pepper and stuff like that, and I don't really taste the pepper that much. So if you're sensitive to hot foods, then maybe this might not be the tea for you. But I mean, I don't really feel like on the spice index it's all that spicy, but I can also eat pretty spicy food too. So I guess it really just depends on your level of comfort with spicy things. But I don't think it's that spicy. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Friday Junior, folks.
Happy Friday, Junior.
Thanks so much to Amber for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
And folks, we have a live stream coming up tomorrow. So for more information, please see this little table here. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance. So please have a hodgepodge for Hodgepodge Thursday.
Be a supportive partner. Do not shame your partner for eating when they're pregnant, and maybe offer to chip in a little bit of money toward them before you try and make them sell their blood. I don't remember the other stories, but I think those two are
yeah. But thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.